Alrighty, guys, we're back for Rakdos Goblins, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. But first things first, this was a suggestion down in the comments, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. We have a little pirate theme packed in here with Breeches, Eager, Pillager. 3 mana, 3/3, legendary creature, Goblin, Pirate, rocking that first strike, and whenever a pirate you control attacks, use one that hasn't been chosen this turn. You can either create a treasure token, or target creature can't block this turn, or exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. Beautiful. Breeches happens to be pretty good, man, especially when paired with other pirates, of course. So we do have Enterprising Scallywag as well. 2 mana, 2/2 at the beginning of your end step. If you descended this turn, you create a treasure token. Now, all those extra treasure tokens are going to go the extra mile in this build because we are rocking Krenko, Baron of Tin Street here. This is a 3 mana, 3/3 legendary creature Goblin. It does have haste, and you can tap this, sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on each Goblin you control. Nice. Now, whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 1 red mana. If you do, you create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token. It gains haste until the end of turn. Okay, so all those extra treasures are really going to go the extra mile with Krenko here. You have some other artifacts packed in, but not a lot. Transmogrant Crown as a 2 of. It's a 2 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, and the equipped cost is either 2 or just a black mana. Whenever a equipped creature dies, you draw a card. Now, I do think this is going to pair really nicely with a lot of our goblins in here, especially here, Cacophony Scamp. Oh yeah, buddy, Cacophony Scamp is a powerful goblin because when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you can just straight up sacrifice it. So paired with the crown, not only can you do some good damage, but you also get that card draw off the crown too. Sounds good, man. Also, just putting that extra +2/+0 onto cards like Stalactite Stalker, which happen to have Menace, just sounds really good to me, doesn't it? Also, Stalactite Stalker acting as one of our removal sources as well. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on Stalactite Stalker. Which reminds me, guys, we have a little bit of a descend theme going on here too. Between Stalker and the Scallywag, we also have a Zoyowa Lava-Tongue. This is a 2 mana, 2/2 legendary creature Goblin Warlock with Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, each opponent may discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. Lava-Tongue deals 3 damage to each opponent who didn't. 3 damage is pretty significant, man. That seems really good. Okay, we do have ways to buff our goblins outside of that Krenko. Rundvelt Hordemaster. Yep, all 4 of them going to be terrific in here. We have ways to go wide with goblins outside of Krenko, like a couple Squees here on the top end. We do have more removal outside of the Stalker too, like a couple Bitter Triumphs and a couple Pylons, both helping us descend as well. We'll go over the mana base later on because we're going to save the more in-depth deck tech for the end of the video after we get some games in. And we'll also potentially make some changes to the build before I upload it for everybody, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and hop into some ranked and see how we do. All right, guys, what on earth is going on? We got a new intro. We're skipping the in-depth deck tech at the beginning. Oh my goodness, changes on top of changes. All right, we go first. This looks like a really good hand, man. Oh my. Okay, we start with Scamp. And then next turn we get the Abandoned Mire down, go Scamp into the Stalactite Stalker. Yes, that is what we want to do. And I suppose we just start with the swing, and we could descend with the Scamp, but I think declining is a little better here. Going wide with some goblins. We could top deck something that potentially buffs this board state, you know what I mean? The Cavern Bat, aw man, it's gonna hit our Scallywag. Okay, the Theater at least helps us descend. Oh, Stalker number 2. Well, let's start with Theater, see what we see. We'll go ahead and descend the Cavern of Souls. Stalker number 2. Well, I guess we start with the swing, actually. I highly doubt they block. However, if we sacrifice one of the scamps, we could poke the Deep Cavern Bat. It's either Stalker number 2 or the Scallywag. I'm gonna take the action. The bat does have lifelink. I think I'd rather do that now and then decline this one. Now, I'm gonna get Stalker number 2 down instead of the Scallywag because buffing these with counters just seems a lot better than a treasure right now. Okay, so far so good. Deep Cavern Bat gonna pick up that Scallywag again. It's the same concept with the Scamp. It isn't bad to go ahead and poke that away, especially since it has lifelink. Oh, very nice draw, guys. Wow. I wonder if they end up blocking there instead then. I mean, I can imagine. Actually, that's actually a tough decision, but I believe it's Scamp. Technically, even if they don't block, if we want to sacrifice Scamp and just go face, that could be really good because we are going to draw here. Just leave the bat on the board. And it would be 10 total damage for the turn, which is actually pretty wild to think about. Opponent's thinking, I suppose this could be a cut down, right? We'll go ahead and pause the recording until the opponent shows up. Okay, the opponent did not show up, guys. I am, in fact, going to take this action, and we are going to proliferate. Transmogrant Crown draws, and we're going to hit the opponent's face here. Ooh, Goblin Tomb Raider, dude. I'm just going to save that in hand, though. I don't want to get hit by a surprise Path of Peril, but I don't think the opponent's here, unfortunately. They never showed up. They didn't block. We're going to actually go ahead and pause the recording again because, like I said, I don't know if they froze or if they just left the building, so we'll see, we'll see. Okay, once again, the opponent did not show up, which passes it back to us, actually. So we'll go ahead and get Tomb Raider down, do my dandiest to play it out here. And that's that. GG, opponent. I would not be surprised at all if they froze, because there's been a lot of freezing going on over the last couple of weeks. Oh no, guys, I forgot to reset the deck tracker after I did a test match. Well, that loss was a bit of a different version of the deck, so let's just ignore that first loss for now. But honestly, we should ignore this first victory too, because it didn't appear that the opponent was there for most of it. So we actually don't know if we would have realistically won or lost if we actually had an opponent to face. But I still think that the deck was showcased quite nicely there overall. What do you guys think? Like, we totally did a thing with the Goblins. Our little artifact equipment did the thing too. So, like, we're getting right into that next game. Very nice. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table? All I request is that you bring something to the table, right? Okay, hey. Good hand again? Yeah, dude. I like these hands. Very nice. Actually, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to start with the Stalactite Stalker. I think that makes more sense than the Cacophony Scamp right away, right? Well, I'm going to start with the swing. We're going to get Lava-Tongue down. Unfortunately, we haven't descended yet, so we don't get any of the fancy abilities, but I still think that's a little better than the crown for now. Just establishing more goblins, making sure we're using up our mana, all that fun stuff. Especially since technically crown could be a way to use 3 mana next turn too. Could be really good, like equip that to Stalker, get the Menace by. They play a blocker for the turn. Okay, I got a little scared there for a second that the opponent froze or something. Okay, go for the throat on the Lava-Tongue. Cavern of Souls. Yep, totally play that Call Goblin without any issues. Tempted by the Scamp. But I think we're just gonna go, whoa, 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 hey. Hey there, whoa, hey. Watch out for the auto tapper, guys. My goodness, huh? Yeah, we're just gonna go for a little bit more damage for the turn on the Stalker here. Especially since we're probably gonna be running into some more spot removal in no time. I guess, yeah, having the spot removal, like when they play it and then we draw off the crown, that just seems pretty good to me. Okay, Rundvelt Hordemaster. Bitter Triumph, we could totally discard, get rid of the Preacher. That'll give us the Descend, but we also don't have to. We could totally take the 3, get rid of the Preacher that way. Play Abandoned Mire and get Hordemaster down too. Yeah, I like that actually. Okay, pay 3 life. Preacher of the Schism is a great target. And this is a great swing, dude. And it's down to 12. Hopefully we'll be fine. Hopefully, like, the crown helps us draw enough, too. Oh, it's this build. Okay. I don't even know what to call this build. Rakdos Discover. Because it also has the Fancy Pants Dino. Usually. Okay, Breeches. Get that swing through. Unfortunately, this isn't a pirate. Still a pretty good swing. Let's do that. Let's get everything onto this board. And again, be careful with that auto tapper. My goodness. It's really doing something. Really being silly with this build right now. Is there board wipes in this deck? Okay, it wasn't a board wipe. But yeah, does this deck usually run board wipes? Okay, yep, we draw. So Sheoldred's really bad. If we put Crown on Breeches, that level of first strike's pretty good. We could also take Sheoldred out of the blocking equation after we swing. Actually, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good, isn't it? Okay. Well, at that point, this guy's getting through. Let's put Crown on the Scamp. See where they end up blocking. Okay, target creature can't block this turn. Sheoldred. We had quite a few options there, actually, guys. If they block with the Praiser, the 3, like, onto the Scamp, the 3 still gets through to their face. Or... see, that's 1 off the board. Yeah, we're going to draw off the Scamp. See what the draw... oh. Well, I guess we'll target the opponent's face. We are taking some damage from Sheoldred. Okay. So... Scamp. Crown onto Scamp again, right? I think so. And we descended for the turn, so the Stalker goes ahead and gets a counter, so that's pretty cool. And so far, this feels like it's doing a thing, huh? They're back up to 4 thanks to Sheoldred. Blood-Tithe Harvester. Okay, they could totally use that blood token to go up to 6. Sheoldred's pain in the butt. We're going down to 11. Land. Okay. Okay. So, I suppose we played the land. Play the crown. Then we'll use the Abandoned Mire to equip the crown to the Stalactite Stalker. Wait a minute, I shouldn't have used that other swamp. Okay, well it equips, luckily, right? This could be like a cut down for Scamp. Either way, it's a pretty good swing. As we're gonna, yep, okay, nice, yeah. So they needed some good removal in hand. And they could have technically had good removal in hand, right? So let's view this battlefield. So Breeches was going to take Shieldred out of the blocking equation. They were going to go up to 6 potentially with the blood token, which again, yeah, I guess. So they could have used the blood token if they didn't have anything in hand, tried to find removal like a Go for the Throat, right? If they found it, they would have still had 2 mana open. They'd be at 6. They drop the Go for the Throat on the Stalker. We do end up drawing. They have a block with Harvester. Into the Breeches, actually. Oh, then Scamp gets there. Oh, I guess, yeah, even then, we had enough on the board, huh? I was trying to work that through for the opponent if they found removal and if they gained life off of Shieldred. But I think we were going to get there, guys. That was solid stuff, man. And the crowns really came into play, too. It's great to see because Transmogrant Crown is, like, so good. Like, every time I play with it. But we never get to see it anywhere. Like, I guess, like, it requires a little bit of setup as you get it onto the board and everything. And a lot of decks are so fast already. But it's only 2 mana. It's pretty cheap to equip, too. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Goblins for days. I like it. Start with Cliffs and go into Stalactite Stalker. Yeah, I think getting the menacing creature down makes more sense than Scamp most of the time. Ooh, Lava-Tongue. Okay, this time it's going to be Scallywag. I'll get that swing in. Scallywag's going to come down because I want an extra pirate on the board for when Breeches comes down next turn, so we get maximum value off of that Breeches. A Rot Priest build, okay. So we should be scared. Call Goblin. Yeah, I mean, this is the play over the 2 creatures, right? I think so. What do I want? I guess we take Rot Priest out of the block. And the treasure token, of course. Oh, a little bit of tempo from the opponent here, potentially. Maybe like a Fading Hope, or not. Oh, that's right. We're not attacking with Breeches this turn. We only get 1 thing. I wouldn't mind if they block with the Rot Priest, especially since this isn't a green source that's open, right? Treasure token, then. I think the treasure token makes the most sense. It goes through. Nice. Now, spamming everything onto the board, I don't think Rot Priest builds have board wipes. I could be wrong. But no, I think we're safe to go wide here. So spending that treasure right away, getting that Scamp down. No terrific ways to descend right now. Contaminator hits the board. That should be scary. But we're going to take it out of the blocking equation. Wonder where they end up blocking here. Before I play anything, I'm going to get that swing in. And I think instead of a treasure token, we're actually going to exile. And then we're going to take the 4/4 Contaminator out of the blocks. Oh, Skrelv with the Hexproof. Actually, is that even that bad? No, because we have open mana. So they might... Oh, Krenko. Ooh. Well, the 4/4 is going to block... Okay, so I was going to say... too, like, since we're seeing something off the top, like, this could easily be spot removal, but we didn't see it, right? So... Okay, losing the Breeches is actually pretty rough, but now Krenko's going to hit the board. Also, we're getting the Descent, so we're getting a treasure. Okay. We can't target with red, so we can't go Scamp to the Contaminator. Yeah, Hexproof from red. Okay, I'm gonna decline. Even though poking the Skrelv could be really good. Oh crap, I should take care of that Skrelv, huh? Actually, this could easily lean towards the opponent in no time. A big thing that we need to do for the turn is play the Krenko to get that extra value. And we do get the Descend. Yeah, we want to get the extra value from the swing with the Breeches for sure. Since we lost it to the Contaminator. Go ahead and swing. I mean, this is going through. No blocks. So we do have a great way to buff our goblins. Yeah, that was a tough decision with the Skrelv, because if we would have waited and potentially proliferated off of the Scamp after giving our goblins a big buff. Oh. Okay. Dude, I wonder what the opponent has open over there. Squee is huge, man. Squee is really good. So I don't want to tap Krenko. I'd rather... Well, we have the extra mana. If we go swing with everything, right? Instead of getting this down. So we go... There's a lot to think about here, guys. Some spot removal could be open for the opponent, too. Potentially, right? Before we swing. Looks like it is going to be some spot removal. March of the Swirling Mist, everything. Dude. Okay, well that should be a little concerning, right? I suppose we could use the Sacrifice an Artifact, right? But I think I'm just going to get... I think I'm just going to get the Lava-Tongue down and hope that they don't have another March next turn. Yeah, more setup for the Krenko. So the main goal there was to swing with everything except for Krenko, then use the ability, put the +1/+1 counter on the Squee token as well. And then also, I guess, generate with the extra mana. They go for the swing, no blocks. I really hope it's not a second March of the Swirling Mist. Yeah, taking all of that out of the equation, super scary. Okay, and also 4 poison. At any point, if like a second Rot Priest comes down, like we're in big danger. Like they have something, a little bit of something. Ooh, Skrelv's Hive, nice. So that gives them lifelink actually, which is really bad. That likely means it's not March of the Swirling Mist. We're gonna swing with everything except for Krenko. Totally fine. I hope. I hope, right? Let's see. Then hopefully we're doing this in the right order as well. We want to make sure we're using Krenko to its fullest ability, you know? Let's see what they end up doing here. Yeah, with the lifelink, they could pull this back with that Contaminator, dude. For real. Okay, sacrifice the treasure. A red mana. That's also a blocker if we need it. And then let's not forget the Stalactite Stalkers. Oh, it was nothing else from the opponent. Down to -1. Yeah, if they had like one piece of removal, they'd still be in that. Okay, not bad. So far, 75% deck win rate. Remember that first loss was actually a test match with a little bit of a different version of the list. I just forgot to reset the deck tracker. And then that first victory as well, the opponent, it kind of felt like they froze. So realistically, don't count those first 2 games from the deck tracker there. All right, onwards, guys. It feels good so far. It feels like we have a lot of options. And maybe it's just the time of day for me. It is getting pretty late at night, but like it's really racking my brain, dude. I don't know. It might be the time of day, but you know, I don't like having excuses either. Maybe it is a pretty tough build to actually run as well. Maybe I should have practiced more. That one test game was mainly testing the mana base, and I did change it up a little bit. We'll talk more about that in the final thoughts, of course. Yeah, trying something a little different today. Actually, trying something a little different all week, where we're, yeah, moving that in-depth deck tech to the end of the video. So it's going to be a little bit weird, a little bit of something to get used to for me, for sure. Like not talking too much at the beginning of the video about the build. It's definitely going to be weird. These hands have been terrific, man. Holy cow. Yeah, I haven't seen anything wrong with these openers. Or the draws, for that matter. We're drawing really well. Okay, called Goblin. Probably Hordemaster right away. Get that swing in with the Scamp, huh? Got to try to outpace Boros at the very least. That's going to be tough. I'm going to decline for now. I know hitting Warden could be good. But I'll tell you what, if they take time to put counters onto the Warden, then we'll definitely outpace them. Like, that would be the goal, right? Like, if they tap out here... then again, we don't have any hasty creatures in hand. Luckily, they can't tap Kamano for the Warden. It's just creatures and artifacts. They do end up tapping out. So we have 3 on the board. If we see like Hordemaster number 2, then we could sack Scamp then. Okay, Tomb Raider. Actually not terrible. If we go for Descending... we go for a turn of Descending. Scamp doesn't, so we want Scamp to hit face just for as much damage as possible. At that point, Treasure on Scallywag wouldn't be terrible. We might want to wait for Descending for next turn. Maybe we just get our Pirates down then instead. Okay. Let's get that swing. We shall decline for now. And we will set up with Scallywag, and we'll set up with Tomb Raider. Yeah, unfortunately, the Tomb Raider not having haste, since we don't have like any treasures on the board or anything. Still, solid little goblins hitting the table, especially with the Hordemaster out there. There's their 3rd mana. Once Boros gets to 3, that's when you got to start sweating. That's when the War Master can hit. That's when the Recruiter can hit as well. Imodane's Recruiter. But with our board state, thank goodness we went first, huh? Because, yeah, I think they could be sweating. Ooh, Knight Errant of Eos. Nothing too fancy for the turn, actually. Breeches off the top would be huge. Oh, Breeches off the top. There it is. Very nice. How much damage do we have on the board? Because, like, do we end up dying next turn is what I mean. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll have 10 if we sacrifice Scamp. And a couple blockers, actually. This is so good, dude. That was an amazing top deck. Like, holy cow. Because we're swinging in with 2 pirates. Target creature can't block this turn. That's you. And then also, treasure token. Big damage. Sacrifice Scamp? No, not yet. Use that treasure token for the Goblin Tomb Raider. Just get excess blockers down just in case. Yeah, since we have some good blockers on the board, if they go like 4th land, 1-drop, and then Imodane's Recruiter, buff everything, give the 1-drop haste, I think we survive. I think we totally survive. So this is looking very scary for the opponent, where they're going to have to keep blockers back most likely. Case of the Gateway, so that's going to take care of the breaches. Yeah, that's definitely the target they want to hit. For sure. Unfortunately, we won't get like the Descended on the Scallywag. That's only at the beginning of our end step. Wow, Krenko. No artifact fancy goodness, but also they're going to be able to block wide here with reinforcements. Just this having haste, I think it's a full swing. They'll have the block into Hordemaster. Nothing has first strike on their side. Yeah, dude, we just full swing. I know they have the blockers, but we just go. We gotta just go every turn, and eventually that Scamp is gonna do some significant damage too, so let's see where they end up blocking. That into Krenko, yep. Being at 3, so they're gonna want to go like Etching into Rundvelt. Oh, the Etching Exile is actually super brutal for the Hordemaster. Yeah, Etching's Exile actually always does a thing, huh? So they go Chump onto Scamp, so that way we don't end up killing anything. They go Trade into the Hordemaster. Okay. Everything looks pretty good for the opponent, actually. They are taking 2. Down to 1. Yeah, we got to be careful, guys. When Scamp dies, it deals that damage. Etching also exiles the Scamp if they're the ones dealing the damage to the Scamp. It does not, however, exile if we sacrifice it. That's noteworthy. Okay, down to 1. Oh! The Scamp dies because Rundvelt died. That's funny, dude. What an order of things. Well, we got there. Beautiful. So what could the opponent... I guess they needed to block wider, right? And yeah, since... Wait a minute. Where did they end up losing the Etching? That's what I'm gonna have to go back and watch. That's pretty funny, dude. That's pretty funny. Hey, I'll take it. Yeah, they had pretty significant blocks. That was definitely like a math is for blockers turn. I still mathed it out a little bit before taking the swing just in case. Because at any point, dude, those Boros builds, I'll tell you what, they are super explosive. Pretty much every turn you have to ask yourself, okay, am I dead next turn? If I swing with this one creature, do I die next turn? Sometimes the answer is yes. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? See if we can end on a high note, but honestly, the deck has been doing the thing. I don't know about this hand. I'm gonna keep it. We're gonna push it to its absolute limits, I would say. All Goblin. And start with the Scamp. Yep. Totally fine. Okay. Hey, another Scamp. All Goblin. Swing with Scamp. Decline. Okay, well, hopefully we can go fast enough here. Hordemaster off the top, buffing this board state would be pretty good. You know what I've been running into a lot of recently, and it's totally Boros' fault? I've been running into a lot of temporary lockdown. Okay, we're going to want to keep the Crucible back as utility for now, but we technically don't have a red source on the board anyways. Okay, swing for 3, and this is pretty slow if we're up against control. I think they're going to opt for removal before the swing. Cut down onto Scamp. Okay, luckily we still get to ping 1. Swing for 2. Gonna decline for now. Do we just dump everything? I guess so. without an artifact on the board, no guaranteed haste on the Goblin Tomb Raider, I'm terrified of a temporary lockdown, but it is what it is if that is what it is, you know? Rafine, okay. Okay. Guess Crucible. If it's a Rafine, if it's a Legends build, alright, full swing. There's not a lot of else we could do except just try to pile the damage through every single turn. Down to 8. Honestly, not bad. For as bad of a hand as you'd think that would have been, we're not doing terrible. Bitter Triumph. I mean, we should try this, right? And before combat too, we got to pay the ward, pay the 3. Pretty good. We just don't know what's in the opponent's hand, and they have 3 open mana, so. Pay the 1. Swing for 5. I'll tell you what, dude, if we get there, we're just like getting lucky at this point. It's gonna be Virtue. Nice. Block a Goblin. They're still taking 4, so they get to keep the creature, though. We're definitely just going to need to see more off the top. Drop their 5th. It's going to be Deep Cavern Bat. Lifelink could be their saving grace. Swing for 2 because of Vigilance. Rundvelt Hordemaster. Okay. Okay, dude. Not bad at all, huh? I mean, it would have been much better a couple turns ago, but that's a draw. Just like full swing every turn. Yeah, I don't know if we have many options here. We got to just keep swinging. Keep pushing through. Go for the throw, Hordemaster. They're going to be able to gain... Oh, wow, good hit off the Hordemaster. Down to 1. Guys, they're going to have to sacrifice that knight. Oh no, it's also a discard too. If they don't want to take 3, they're going to discard the Urtai. Dude, we're putting that pressure on, and we kind of had a bad hand overall. No blocks, down to 13. Pass it back. Cavern. Okay, so the trade there, 2 probably doesn't get through. If we just swing with these 2, they can avoid the 3 damage for a while. Well, every turn, technically, they just keep drawing, right? And they could block the token too. Yeah, if we just keep swinging, there's got to be something else in their hand, right? And like this trade happens to be really good too. If they drop like another Virtue, the Ardenvale Fealty, and we lose a Tomb Raider and that, then only 1 gets through. Unfortunately, guys, I still think it's just a full swing. And I think, okay, they're going to flash down a Mastermind. Oh, Seat of the Empire. Okay, at that point, the opponent pulls this back in their favor, and we're going to play Cavern of Souls because this is totally the style of deck that runs Liliana too. We're going to call Goblin on the Cavern of Souls, and we're going to need to see a little bit more than land off the top. I can't believe how well this is working, though. Okay, now they're tapped out. Scallywag is not going to do it. But it does set up a pirate. So like Breeches off the top, we could take that 3/3 out of the equation. But anything else they end up playing... Oh, Denick. Okay, down to 8. Denick has lifelink. Cavern of Souls. Oh no, guys. That should be it. As they get to go back up to 5 here, they get a terrific swing for 7. And I can't imagine what we would see that would be able to do 5 and get around the Denick's lifelink. Transmogrant Crown. Oh man. Dude, this deck is actually pretty stacked, isn't it? It really is. Totally doing the thing. Like Scallywag's going to be out of the equation here. Gotta be real with you guys. I didn't miss seeing Esper. It's still a very brutal list, huh? Actually, not really sure why we haven't seen too much Esper overall. Okay, look at that, guys. 66 total percent win rate for the list. Remember that first loss was a bit of a different version of the deck that I just tested for the sake of the mana. That first win was the opponent seemingly freezing, wasn't there. We did have a really good setup, so we probably could have won anyways. But then, yeah, 3 wins in a row, not half bad. And that last loss here kind of felt a little unlucky. We did flood a little bit too, but that's something to talk about here in the final thoughts as well. We're about 40 minutes in. For the first time ever, we're going to do the in-depth deck tech here at the end of the video. So this is a little bit odd, huh? Here's the deck list, guys. What do I want to say about it? It totally felt like it was doing something, didn't it? Just having like 12 one-drop goblins just felt really, really good, especially when you're seeing more off the top with breaches every now and then too. Getting those pirates down was a lot easier than you would ever expect. Like if you set up for a turn with pirates, like, I mean, we even have a line of play, Tomb Raider, Scallywag, turn 3 breaches. That's just really good, huh? And then you're swinging in with the Scallywag and the Tomb Raider. You get 2 of these abilities. You're probably going like Treasure, buff the Tomb Raider, and then you're taking like a blocker out of the equation. At that point, if Breeches survives and you start activating that bottom ability where you get to see the top card of your library, and then you may play it this turn, just having, again, the 12 1-drops just seems pretty wild. Transmogrant Crown pairs beautifully with everything about as much as you'd expect it to pair. That, like, pairs really nicely with the Stalactite Stalker, for example. Oh, guys, because of, like, this whole different setup of me going over the list at the end of the video, we do got to talk about the mana base. Everything in here can be cast with Cavern of Souls and Secluded Courtyard, except for Pylon and Bitter Triumph. That being said, totally necessary, man. You need that spot removal for sure. Didn't get to see Pylon today, but I think the Surveil 2 really would have come in handy. I do think a lot of the times we were wide enough to potentially use that Convoke instead of just spending the 4 mana on this too. Bitter Triumph feels pretty good. There were actually a lot of cases where we just add the 3 life to pay without any worries because we were putting so much pressure on the opponents anyways. The pressure was really on the opponents, even without a lot of hasty creatures packed in. Here's something I want to say too. It was pretty hard to actually have treasures on the board. The Scallywag's Descended ability was actually a lot harder than I thought. Actually, just descending in general was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. So what could we go up? What could we potentially go up to have the Descended abilities happen a little bit sooner? Also, the +1/+1 counters on the Stalker working with that Proliferate on the Scamp is wild too. There's a lot of little synergies here, man. This is one of those things where I'm so used to talking about the list and going over the synergies at the beginning and then talking about the final thoughts at the end. Like I've been doing it the same way for so long. I'm actually struggling to remember exactly what I went over at the beginning because I went over some important stuff like the fact that we had Breeches and Krenko and like the small pirate theme and the small artifact theme. But outside of that, I didn't really go over anything else, right? I don't think so. Like, for example, I opted for Blackcleave Cliffs in the mana base instead of the Pain Land because the Pain Lands have been doing a lot of damage to me, and I think Blackcleave Cliffs just will be fine in here. And then opting for the Theater for the Surveil 1 to help us descend, I actually might go up to like 3 of these. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we need 3 of these? Overall, I don't even think we need to change the deck list that much. I think just more testing is required with this exact version. The legendary creatures here on the top of the build. The 3 Breeches felt right. The 3 Krenkos felt right. The double Squeeze. I actually would have liked to see Squee a little bit more today, but I can't imagine going up to 3 of these, right? I can't imagine that. That'd be a lot of 3 drops too. And then there's going to be a lot of moments where having 3 of each of these, right? Like you see your 3 Krenkos and you're like, well, I hope we see something else here soon, right? And that would be really bad. But again, with Krenko, it comes back to that whole small artifact theme with these treasures. Without having a lot of extra treasures, it ends up just being a hasty goblin, which happens to not be terrible, right? 3 mana, 3/3, hasty goblin. Like it comes down as a 4/4 if you already have Hordemaster on the board, right? So that seems pretty solid overall. Honorable mentions too, guys. Do I want to go over the honorable mentions at the beginning? Or do I want to go over the honorable mentions in the in-depth deck tech that I'm going to be trying to save for the end? Not really sure. We'll see how the week goes, huh? Definitely let me know in the comments if you like this style a little bit more too. Just a little bit less rambling at the beginning, get right into those games, and then talk more about the list at the end. It does make sense to do. It's just something that I got to get used to too. And then I need to figure out when I want to talk about the honorable mentions, right? Because I thought about Gleeful Demolition for the build, but definitely not enough artifacts for that, right? But if we did have more artifacts, it could help us descend. For example, you could hit your Transmogrant Crown. Crown goes to the grave. Now you've descended for the turn and you went wide with Goblins. So something to think about, but I just don't think we have enough artifacts for it. The similar concept with Crime Novelist. We just don't have enough artifacts in here, even with the treasure theme. I think we would have struggled to get Novelist to do anything meaningful today. There was actually some other equipment that I thought about too, like Soul Cleaver. I've been really meaning to play with, and those +1/+1 counters work with the Proliferate, and also just like Vigilance happens to be pretty decent too. I do think the equip cost is a little steep on this, but as like a one-of, maybe it's something we could try out. Then speaking of those top-end legendary goblins, I did think about Plaza of Heroes as like a one-of in the mana base too, but I think something like a one-of Restless Vents is just going to be a little bit better overall, especially when Restless Vents can also help you descend. And we're actually just looking for more ways to help us descend. That being said, there's going to be a lot of decisions to make, like Cacophony Scamp, for example. While we do have a decent amount of things to help us descend, I feel like Cacophony Scamp is one of those ones where it's going to be a really tough decision, because you're going to be like, well, we could totally sacrifice Scamp, get a +1/+1 counter on the Stalker at the end of the turn, and then deal a little bit of extra damage to the opponent's face. But now you're down a Goblin too. What if you top deck a Hordemaster? You'd much rather just be wide with Goblins instead of actually descending. I guess that depends on how many creatures with descend you actually have on the board, which would have required setup already. So, really tough, really tough. Okay, guys. Hey, enough rambling, huh? You made it this far into the video for real. Y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. Make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too. A great way to support the channel. Anything else, guys? Yeah, like I said, it's gonna take me some time to get used to this new format of talking in depth about the deck at the end of the video, because like I feel like I should be taking notes during the entire video, or notes after talking about it at the beginning, like, okay, I went over these key things, but I didn't go over these synergies. Maybe notes would actually be really helpful, huh? Okay, well, anyways, yeah, enough rambling. Hey, I will see you in the next video.